Hello and welcome to another coaching conversation where today I'm with featured coach training provider, the Evolve College, and the co-founder. Sorry, you might actually be the founder rather than the co-founder.
The founder, yeah.
Founder, because I know you work with another lady called Joan, but you're the founder and CEO.
Yeah.
So John Mill, welcome and thank you for being in the hot seat today.
All right, that's good.
Hot seat being quite operable.
Very hot, yeah.
Very hot today. Yeah. So we want to dive straight in and find out a little bit about your philosophy. And so if you could describe your journey from where you started out to how you got here, and if there was a particular catalyst you'd like to share with us.
Okay. I have a very colourful background. I was born with something called brittle bones, which is known as osteogenesis imperfecta. And when I was young, I used to break my legs and my arms and my hands and my feet and my everything. Mainly my left leg. So when I went through school, there was a lot of bullying, and I was always on crutches. I always remember being the shortest person in the school. I remember going to secondary school and I was 4'1" high, and I was 12, and I weighed 4 stone 1. So I just got bashed up quite a lot. It was quite a rough school. So I left school with the primary fear I'm not good enough. And I went down the route of retail. So all my friends kind of went into banking and jobs with company cars. And I went to this shop around the corner that packed nuts and bolts. And I worked for £30 a week. And I had no aspirations whatsoever. It was just really sort of survival.
Okay.
So I went through life mainly in retail, but every time someone offered me promotion, I took it, but I didn't ever think I was good enough. And even when I was working in Clark's shoes, I went from sales boy to manager of one of their £1 million a year shops. And I still never thought I was good enough. I just, So then from there, it all went a bit wrong there. And then I started to go down the route of mini cabbing. I had children, I needed money. I was the worst minicab driver the world has ever seen. If you wanted to go to the airport and you got me that day, you wouldn't get to the airport. I had an A to Z with all these pages missing. We'd end up in Brixton somewhere with a client shouting at me. So then I started to do boot sales on a Sunday because it was like any way of making a few quid. And the way the story goes is I'm selling all my old stuff as you do at a boot sale. And you're running out of stuff, and I'm getting all the market banter, I'm shouting out to people, and I'm doing the stuff, and I've got nothing left to sell. So my friend comes up and he says, "Oh, I've got a dodgy video here. It's at the cinema." And I go, "Well, how's that?" And I go, "All right, I'll borrow it. I'll copy it." So I copied a few of them, and I sold them. And I made a bit of money, and we had roast beef that day. And then I went back and I copied a few more. And then I was selling these dodgy videos, and then this guy came up and he said, "I'm from Trading Standards. This is a pirate video." And I said, "Oh, I didn't know. Obviously, I did." And he said, "I don't need to sell them here ever again." But that was where my kind of life took a turn, because what happened was I decided to go back and sell them again and keep making money. And then it turned to DVD. And then I ended up being this guy that everyone knew as a kind of Del Boy guy. Go and get your dodgy DVDs off this guy. But I started to earn an awful lot of money, and I knew it was wrong, and it was a bit of a game. But I carried on, and I was just that guy at the boot sale that everyone knew, the dodgy fella in the corner. And then I started to get fed up with life. This is where I kind of got a bit down. I knew I was doing something wrong. I knew it was going to come to an end. And I'd always said, I'm the guy with no trade, no business. I don't know nothing. So I looked at charities and I came across Childline. And I was going to give some money back, because I always remember Horace Mann saying, we should be ashamed to die until we've done something good for humankind, So I thought, rather than give money, I'll sign up. And as usual, your friends and family tell you not to. So they start to smear you with their fears and worries. So they started to say, "Oh, don't do Childline. You can't do Childline. you could never help children. You can't look after yourself. So I went to Childline, signed up for the course, loved it, became really good at it. And then they asked me to be a mentor for other counsellors. And on the night of my mentoring exam, I came out so proud and happy that I passed. And then I got a phone call and they said, oh, we've been raided. The police have come and took all the films. They want to come and get you. So I went through this period of life where a couple of years where the police wanted me to go to court, and it all went to court and they wanted me to go to prison. Anyway, it turned out on the day of my sort of big day, I got a community service and I got a suspended sentence for like 9 months, where I had to be a very good boy. And by this point, I'd already decided this was never going to happen again. I wrote a letter to the judge. I said, I promise you, I've changed my life. I had this probation officer. I said to this probation, I promise you, if you just help me, I'll change everything. And that was where I listened to my calling, which was like all my life, people have been saying, we like talking to you, you give good advice, we like telling you our problems. And you have that moment where you think, I can make some money at this, you know? So I went back to Childline, but then I started to study hypnotherapy, counselling, psychology. And then when I passed my sort of hypnotherapy diploma, because I'm so driven, like whatever I do, I have to be the best. I set up in Harley Street the month that I passed, and I only had an 11-month diploma of training, but I set up in Harley Street. I called myself the world's most renowned hypnotherapist or something. And I did really well. And it was at that point where I wrote to my probation officer. I phoned my probation up and I said, guess where I am? I'm in Harley Street. And she couldn't believe it. And I wrote to like the judge and everyone. And then from then on, it's just been brilliant, like a roller coaster ride. Because you know, I used to go to work and go to the boot sale with a suitcase of DVDs. Now then I started to go to Harley Street. Yeah. You know, I was meeting celebrities. Going, this is just how crazy in like 2 years how your life can shift. Yeah. And even now, from Harley Street to running a college, it's just like, you know, brilliant. I love it, absolutely. Yeah. Love it. So yeah.
Well, you've always struck me as super high energy, and I know when we were accrediting your course, you said, you know, I'm writing the next one, despite having children. I think, when does this guy ever sleep? So it's an amazing story, actually. And you know, one of the reasons why we do these videos is to put a face in front of the name, so that potential students get a real feel for who they're signing up with to study. And I think a lot of people would actually resonate with your course on several levels. One is that, you know, you can't have a perfect day until you do something for somebody else without any expectation of a return. So that's quite important. And the volunteering, you know, you get so much out of volunteering. It's a win-win. And then it's obviously very evident that you had a particular calling. So what advice would you give to somebody who's actually struggling to find their purpose?
I think for me, when I started being a entrepreneur, or you know, I started to put my ladder up against many walls, and I kept climbing all these different walls. Going, is this it? Is this the one? Is this it? You know, I'll write a book now. I'll do this now. I'll do this now. Yeah. And in the end, I think go with what feels most passionate for you. Put your ladder up against that one wall. Take away plan B, and just keep going for that, because it might not be the thing that you're meant to do, but you'll probably branch off later once you get to there. Do you know what I mean? But when you've got 6 things going at once and you're thinking, is this going to be the thing? You can't have your focus on that one thing, you know. And for me, it was like, this is the thing. Like when I became a hypnotherapist, it was like that was all there was, you know. Now I'm running a college. My clients in coaching and hypnotherapy have gone down because my focus is now on my course. So wherever your focus is, that's all your energy, isn't it? So now I watch my clients go down, but my students go up, you know. So it's like, for me, it's like, if there is something out there that is your passion and you can make money at it, you know, like if someone said, I love animals, I'd be saying, oh, you know, what about helping at the vets? What about this? What about that?
Yeah.
If there's a job there in that field, look at it, you know, and see, because once your passion fits with someone else's kind of needs, then that's kind of where it works for me, I suppose. But yeah, just one, I suppose, one focus for me in the beginning.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, you quite often, and you'll know this as a what did you call yourself, a world-renowned hypnotherapist, a world-renowned coach? You'll know this when you're with your coaching clients, that quite often they set themselves up for failure because it's a scattergun approach. They're here, there, and everywhere, and it's like, well, put it into some sort of priority, and what are you going to do first? Succeed at that, and then succeed at something else. So what is your definition of success, by the way, John?
Success, I suppose, is definition of success. For me, it's just when I get to a point where I know that I've done really well in any job I've ever done, I suppose. So it's like, for me, success is, if I want to do your job, I will come after you, watch you, study you, copy you, steal from you, and then I will try and overtake you in any way I can, whatever job it is. But then there's always be a point where you stop, sit, look back, and go, I've done really well there, and praise yourself, and you know, because as you know, driven people are never happy. They always want more. They always want more. There was more. So I suppose success is not just money, but seeing people change because you're in the world, but also just really having that moment where you sit back and reflect and think, like with me, like how the hell did I get to Harley Street? You know, just to sit back and go, that was really successful. You know, too many people don't give themselves self-praise, and I'm very much into stopping and giving yourself a pat on the back. You know, but yes, success for me has always been, you know, money and different things. I suppose there's so many categories. So, okay. But yeah.
So when things get too much, so perhaps it was the first month when you had to pay your Harley Street rent, I don't know. How do you keep yourself motivated and keep that belief that you're on the right path?
I think every day I wake up, I have this thing where I love a bath. I sit in the bath every morning, and I have a chat with myself. First of all, I wake up with gratitude, because I think that's your superpower. So I wake up. First of all, I'm grateful that I woke up. Okay, I'm above ground. I'm awake, and then I'm grateful for what I'm doing that day. But then there's always that point in your day where you have doubt, you have fear, you have worry. I try to make those moments last for about 30 seconds. You know, I let myself have a little bit of doubt, and then I just tell myself to shut up and just crack on with the day. So for me, if I was telling someone, you know, how do you keep yourself motivated? It would be every day I'd start the day with appreciation for what I have, for where I'm at. Very grateful for maybe the people around you or what you have. If you've got a roof over your head, anything. Very grateful for a car. But then I'd start to really be persistent with what I want. My big thing for me has always been persistence. I always say that there's a picture in the dictionary of me next to the word persistence, because I won't leave it until I get to where I want to get, you know. And I'm often saying, you know, I don't know what your listeners believe in the universe, but I'm often telling the universe, you might as well get out of my way, because I'm having this, it's going to happen. I'm not leaving it until it's done. So I have supreme focus all the time. Yeah, that's quite tiring.
I can imagine you're quite an exhausting person to be around.
You probably hear, yeah, probably a bit annoying.
So, who gave you the most useful piece of advice, and what was it?
I suppose two bits of advice I remember. Not like amazingly inspiring people. When I was 19, there was a van driver. I worked at an old furniture store called Queensway Furniture. It's not around anymore. And my girlfriend dumped me, and I'd lost my job that day. And he told me in a little moment, he said, no matter what happens to you, son, you'll always find your feet. And I took that bit of advice, and every time I had adversity, I always told myself, I'll always find my feet. Don't worry, I'll always find my feet. And I believe that if you have a thought like that and you make it a belief, it always works for you. And weirdly, another one was my brother-in-law many years ago when I was a young man, I was about 23, and he told me, if you work with plonkers, you'll become one. And I always think about who I have around me and what they give to me, what they bring to me. So I try to surround myself with people that inspire me or raise my game. If you're quite negative, you probably won't get a lot of my time, obviously unless you're a client, but friends-wise, I'm very aware of if people, I always say, if people give you 5%, give them 5% back. If people give you 5% and you're giving them 100% effort and energy, that's got to be wearing for you at times. So it's just like, I'm very aware of who's, show me your friends, I'll show you your future, that kind of thing.
Yeah, no, I think both of those are good pieces of advice, because having belief in yourself and saying you'll always land on your feet is a good mantra when you're feeling a bit stuck. And I always remember somebody saying to me when I was climbing the corporate ladder, be careful of who you hang around the coffee machine with. Because directors walk up and down the corridor, and also it's kind of like dress for success. If you're hanging around the coffee machine talking negatively with people or about last night's TV, and you're not dressed for your next promotion, or when the directors walk past, they're not going to see you as that person. So It's kind of a similar type of thing. Yeah, very interesting. Well, I'm not going to ask you what the most spontaneous thing is that you've ever done, because I think it's getting the Harley Street office.
Yeah, there's lots.
So apart from the bath being one of your luxuries, if you were on a desert island, John, what would be the book, the piece of music, or the luxury that you would take with you that would keep you motivated and inspired?
I think music, it'd have to be something by Frank Sinatra. Not because, yeah, kind of like there's one favourite song, The Summer Wind, which is just always makes me happy. Not that I'm not into young stuff, because I am, so I'm not that old. I suppose luxury would probably be some hair gel, because I'm really vain.
Very good.
And I don't know about a book, because I absorb books, I read books really quick, so I don't know. I thought about, a really big book to start a fire with, but the Encyclopedia Britannica, so I could burn it in case it got cold. But I can't really honestly think of a book offhand that I'd take. But nice music and some hair gel. Yeah.
Very good. All right. So, time is tight, and I know you're an entrepreneur, so I'm not going to keep you very much longer, but just one or two more questions. Dead or alive, whose brains would you most like to pick, and why?
Probably, I thought about this. I thought probably myself in 10 years. Probably me in about 10 years, to ask me some advice to how can I get to that 10 years quicker, because I'm very aware of time, like you said, and I'm very aware of my age, and I wish I'd have started this younger, and I know things pan out that way, but I'm always like, how can I get there quicker? That's why I love Elon Musk, where he says work 19 hours a day and you'll be 5 years ahead of everyone else. And I literally have worked 19 hours a day last year, and I have shifted so much ahead. So probably my older self, really. I don't know. I've got too many heroes.
Yeah, because so many people I talk to say they wish they had done this sooner.
Yeah.
And that says to me a lack of belief, lack of confidence, a lack of resources, etc. And if we had just had the faith, that the universe will take care of us and provide, and we'll always land on our feet, and there are always mentors there. If we just had the courage to ask them, most people would be very flattered to help, wouldn't they? So what's going to be your legacy then, John?
Just so really, my legacy is always from my family, from my children, but really just to be remembered, I suppose, as someone that helped change lives. I've been writing a new psychology kind of approach, and I hope to sort of put that together soon. And I want to, like human needs psychology and Maslow and all that. I kind of got my own one that I've sort of written, and I want to put it out there to the world and see if they take it on board. But really, it's just from to leave my children with a bit of a legacy, so that their future's sorted. But just so that someone, if when one person goes, oh, that guy really changed my life or made my life easier, just that really, to be remembered for that stuff, and to be remembered really for just being a bit wild and a bit carefree and spontaneous.
Well, I think that is so important. We're so stressed in the 21st century and so time-starved. To be a bit wild and spontaneous and gay is got to be a beautiful thing. So what can people expect on your courses, John, apart from obviously a lot of positivity and high energy? What would you think sets your course apart from another training provider's coaching course?
Okay, so the big thing for me that's always been, when I've done my course, only 2 of us practiced after. So there was 33 in our class, and 2 of us practiced after, and 31 gradually went back to their old jobs. And I believe it's about a 5% statistic that when people take courses, they don't actually do the job after, they don't use it. So my thing is that if you take my course, because we literally market you, package you and present you to the public after, mine is, if you take my course, I set you up in the job. And like where people have done my course recently, I'm starting to nudge them now and go, come on, we haven't got this course working, come on, I want this in, I want to put your website up, I want to get going. So it's there's a lot of energy from me afterwards. So we do this thing on WhatsApp where I voice record, my students talk to me, voice record their questions, I voice record them back, and they keep them. And we do this back and forth. It doesn't matter if it's midnight or, because I'm always awake, 5 in the morning, I'm recording advice. Every time they get a practice client, they're on the phone and I'm doing it back. So there's for me, I think there's 100% support all the time, because I want to see them, as one has just done, set up, starting to take paying clients, because they become my best advert, right? But also, just to quickly tell you, I've set up another thing, 23rd of August, it's a Thursday, I hired this mansion in Surrey, Non-Such Mansion, and we're going to do a big self-development seminar day, and all the students are going to help me with my clients there that all come. So they're going to all help coach them individually as well. And we might have a Britain's Got Talent singer coming. I'm negotiating that at the moment. But it's a big...
You don't do anything by halves, do you?
No. So it's going to be 200 people there, and there's Prosecco and canapes, and I'm feeding everyone. And I just haven't decided if I'm coming in by helicopter yet. But I've hired I've hired this mansion. So, but everyone that signs up comes to that as well, comes to that event, and they're all going to be part of the event. So the coaches are really excited, because I said to them, this is your event, so we're going to do a kind of a big, not Tony Robbins, but a big self-development day in the sun. And because I've hired all the mansion's grounds, we can do coaching out on the grass, and everyone can go up and sit. Yeah, it's going to be really good. I'm really excited about it. So.
Well, you're an accredited course training provider. I hope we're going to play a part in that and support you in some way. I haven't received this is going to be bigger than the royal wedding.
I doubt it.
It might be for some people. So that is wonderful. So I'm going to put a link with your biog and your photograph to your website with this recording. So just remind people where they can find you when they go online.
Okay, so the best place to find me always, I don't know, it's been Facebook more than anything. Everyone's on Facebook. If they search Facebook @famous John Mill. I know it sounds funny, but @famous John Mill, they'll find my page called John Mill Dream Seller, and on there are tons and tons of videos. All the college stuff is on there.
Yeah.
But also we've got another website called www.evolvehypnotherapycollege.com. I think that's what it's called. But it's mainly, I'll give you the links. If they find me on Facebook, everything we do goes up there. But gradually we're building, I've got loads of online videos and online programs for the students. So there's lots of, sorry I get confused, there's so many websites and hubs with all these videos on, to say it off by heart, I just can remember them. But
and it must be confusing when you create websites for all your students as well.
Yeah, they're happening as well. So yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure getting to know the person behind the name and the college. And I really appreciate the time you spent with me. And I hope we'll see you in August.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Pleasure.
Bye-bye, John.
Bye.